to the War in Ukraine Update from Kyiv podcast. I'm Jessica Ganawa, a lecturer in international relations at Flinders University in Australia, and I'm checking in today with our regular guest, Maksym Yali, Professor of International Relations at the National Aviation University in Kyiv. Today, Maksym and I discuss the recent visit from Antonio Guterres, United Nations Secretary-General, to Russia, whether there's a possibility for an agreement to be reached to evacuate civilians from Mariupol, and Maksym also shares a couple of more personal stories regarding friends of his from Mariupol. I start by asking Maksym what the reaction was in Ukraine to UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres' visit to Russia, and whether it's perceived that any concrete outcomes will result for delivery of humanitarian aid to Mariupol and the evacuation of civilians.
The situation is getting worse every day. They keep attacking Azovstal still plant, though Putin, when yesterday, during his meeting with the head of United Nations, Guterres mentioned that there are no fights. Fights were stopped more than a week ago, but it's false, it's lie, usual policy of Putin. So they keep bombing and keep shelling Azovstal with heavy bombs, no matter that there are about thousands of women, children, and elderly people, also wounded, civilians and militaries. So I would say, as Mr. Guterres officially stated, that they made a decision that with the help of United Nations, Russian Federation and Ukraine, they will help to evacuate civilians from there. Though Putin, even on official videos in Kremlin, he was saying, I don't know, are there any civilians? Though there are plenty of videos made by Azov regiment showing the life of civilians inside and the shelters there. And of course, I don't believe in such green corridors. It's, from my point of view, was very disgraceful, making picture with Putin smiling as nothing is going on, as he doesn't know about tens of thousands of killed people who keep starving there, and the city is completely ruined. In Ukraine, it was very negative reaction, and it just proves that all that mechanism to keep peace as United Nations is outdated and is not efficient at all.
If you don't think that Antonio Guterres will succeed in coming to an agreement on delivery of humanitarian aid and evacuation of civilians from Mariupol, do you hold out hope that there might be other world leaders that will be able to negotiate such an agreement or facilitate the negotiation of such an agreement with Putin?
If Recep Erdogan, the president of Turkey, who has very close ties with Putin, couldn't achieve this goal because he was also proposing to evacuate civilians and militaries from Azovstal, from Mariupol, a long time ago, at least for a month, even by sea. He was ready and still ready to send there some ships for evacuation. No results. The same concerns Prime Minister of Greece. There are a lot of Ukrainians of Greek origin, the same as I am, living in Mariupol. It was set up by Greeks, by the way, in 1778. No results. Though these two countries are very important for Russia in their diplomacy, Greece, and Turkey. Even Pope in Rome was trying to do the same. No results. So I'm sure that all these negotiations will have any positive results. And for Putin, he doesn't care that there are women and children.
And what is the situation like in Mariupol now on the ground? Can people travel in and out of the city?
It's impossible now to get there to Mariupol for anybody, for civilians, if they don't have ID that they have passed filtration camps on the outskirts of Mariupol. And from all sides, from the east, from the west, there are such filtration camps. I know the people who passed there and how they humiliate on civilians, another topic. But anyway, so if before volunteers and some civilians were coming back to Mariupol, so now it is blocked. Only those who have Mariupol registration, as I am, for example, could go there, but only after they pass these filtration camps. For me, it's not a variant, of course, because I will be arrested there on the first checkpoint, I would say.
Yeah, as we've discussed before in the podcast, episode 4, we did a deep dive into your own experience of Ukrainian identity growing up in Mariupol. You are from Mariupol yourself. What do you know about your own house in Mariupol? Is it still standing?
My flat is, I guess, if not ruined, then it's occupied already, because now they're already checking. I mean, militaries and occupational forces, they go to check those flats and houses which more or less in good state, worth living. Now they are sending SMS for those who, for the owners, I would say, of that flat who managed to evacuate, and they are sending SMS and say, if you don't come back, we'll occupy your flat. But of course, the best houses and flats are already occupied by occupiers. The same was in Donetsk in 2014.
And I'm guessing it's not going to be possible for you yourself to go back to Mariupol at any stage in the near future, at least, while there are Russian military stationed there.
Just first of all, it's dangerous. I will not get there. I will be arrested on the first checkpoint, even far away from Mariupol. Not talking if I get to filtration camp, as my coach of boxing, for example, he was trying to flee, and they checked his Facebook account and there were photos. He was in territorial defense, pro-Ukrainian. Now he was arrested. Then the latest news, like he was in hospital after heart attack, I guess after tortures in prison, and like volunteers, usual civilians, as I mentioned, I'm just doing some assistance to them. Was arrested recently. We found him. He is also in prison. So they arrest just usual people who are at their own risk. We're trying to help people there, was going there on their minivans, helping people to evacuate. So now they arrest them then to exchange for their militaries who surrendered or were captured by Ukrainian armed forces.
So have you managed to talk to your boxing coach? Have you managed to actually be in touch with him?
No, it's impossible. My boxing coach, I had 2 of them. So the one younger who brought me to boxing, he is luckily alive. But another one, senior coach, was killed. He was 82 years old. We don't know even any information. I talked to his son. He just said his neighbor sent me, so showed me the picture. He was buried in the yard. No details. The one younger coach, like I talked with his wife, contacted, trying to help. Firstly, the only news was that he was arrested on the checkpoint. It was a month ago already, even, I guess, if not more. And then just last week, she wrote me that he called his daughter from the hospital, but it was only like 2 words, I'm alive, I'm in Donetsk. Now we're trying to find him just to get there any food, something like that to help him.
Well, thanks for sharing this update today, Maksym. Take care, stay safe, and all the best.
Welcome, Jessica.
You've been listening to the Update from Kyiv podcast. Thanks to Mr. Smith for our theme music. See you next time.